hand over to Brady now.
Thank you, Zerby. 1 second, let me just share my screen. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 sec. It is loading for me. Okay, are the slides turning?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome guys to my talk. As Zerby said, my talk is about the importance of enterprise tech for helping the world run better. So first of all, my name, of course, is Brady. I was born in Penang, Malaysia, but I've been living in Ireland for the past 16 years. I'm currently studying computer science in University College of Dublin. I love cooking, eating, traveling, playing games. And I've worked various jobs and currently doing my second internship rotation at SAP. Here are a few volunteer experiences I've had. The reason I put this is because these really helped me into getting my other jobs and also my internship. I know that prior to this talk, a few people have reached out to me asking for any advice in getting their first internship or whatnot. So I thought I'll start off my talk with my internship experience and also some tips. Here are some of my experiences. These definitely helped a lot, especially the ones on the right hand side where I was the assistant manager of a pizza shop and whatnot. Because during my interview for my internships and whatnot, they really questioned a lot of these and asked how I would manage a team and whatnot. So first of all, my internship experience. I'll step through what I learned in terms of technical skills and then what I've learned in soft skills and then my plans after my internship and graduating, and then finally any tips I learned or have. So first of all, technical skills. I learned stuff like, how to design code for different big teams and how to write clean code and stuff like, let's say we are passing multiple parameters, the same parameters to different functions, then we obviously would point to an object. Uh, Code reviews, how to document stuff, when writing emails and stuff, how we're going to describe the problem, the solution, what we want to take, and what we achieved so far. These things seem really trivial to me at the start, but after like working for, let's say, the first month, it started. I can see how useful it was. I also learned stuff like Docker, Tomcat, many others. And I think what's important is don't stress if you don't know this, because I noticed in the messages people sent me, they're like, oh, but I don't know X, or oh, I don't know how to program as much, or I don't have any projects. That's fine. I think what interviewers and recruiters really want to see is that you have the aptitude to learn on the job and that you want to kind of succeed and you have the ambition to work hard. These tools change frequently. You can always see, like, for example, people were like, oh, Node.js is really good, but now people are like, oh, Deno is really good, but then like, oh, but Node.js, and you have this kind of argument. But what's really important is that you understand the fundamentals. Secondly, soft skills. I received a lot of soft skills training. There was weeks where they just specifically sent us to have training for soft skills, and there's stuff like, empathy, effective communication, assertiveness, without authority, influence, and net teamwork. And I think a lot of, I say, especially me, when before I got my internship, I was really stuck on the idea that, oh yeah, good software engineers or good coders are like rock stars. They just know the Linux kernel inside out. They can take apart a computer, put it back in. They can, I don't know, create Facebook within a day. But after working with the team, I realized that's not really the truth. Really good software engineers have really good soft skills as well. You have to be able to work with dynamic cultures. Like, for example, SAP is a multicultural organization, and you'll be working with people from, like, say, China, India, America, whatever, and you got to be able to differentiate that your culture will be different to their culture. And sometimes when there's a disagreement, it's not because they hate you. It's more because, perhaps there's this misunderstanding at surface level, and you gotta look down to beneath that and see what actually is causing the conflict. empathy is a really big one. You can see that really good managers have really good empathy. When you say you do a bad job, or I say bad job, but let's say you feel like you didn't perform well, they don't make you feel bad. They try to encourage you, they coach you through the process, and their objective is to make you a better software engineer or whatever, right? And I think these are very important for kind of climbing your career ladder. And I think during your interview, if you're able to demonstrate that you have really good soft skills, you're like above many people. Because as I was speaking to my recruiter, my manager, he was like, soft skills is one of the things to look at, and that's why they asked me about my assistant manager role position, because that required a lot of soft skills, right? Yeah, and there's like loads of, when I say teamwork, for example, you know, at the service level, or initially your initial interpretation of, oh yeah, let's work together, yeah, let's communicate better, let's not argue with each other. But if you're very interested, you can Google like, oh, teamwork frameworks, or how do teams form, or the different personalities in the team. And if you understand this, and when you go into your internship or even a job, you're going to excel. You're going to be able to work so fluidly with people. You're going to be a good people person. You're going to be so popular, and using me all around good software engineer, and all, but also a good person. And people like that. People like good people. Um, so what's next for me? So initially, I was thinking of doing like full-time job, but after working with SAP for like 2 rotations, so almost a year or so, they offered me an opportunity to go to Germany to do a full-time master's and a part-time job with them. And this is really good because it's opened up some more opportunity. And I think the point I want to highlight is that when you go into your internship, try to look for more opportunities. When let's say your manager gives you, okay, can you make this front end code to do whatever X, Y, and Z? Try to do slightly beyond what they asked, or try to find more opportunities. I'm pretty negative about it. When they say, "Oh, can you make this front?" I'm like, "Oh, work, oh, whatever." But other days I'm like, "Oh, but then I can implement like a dark mode, and that's pretty cool because most people like dark mode." Or, "Oh, this button I think it needs to be improved, or this functionality needs to be improved." And for example, this master's, initially it wasn't even open to us Irish students. It was only for German students. But I expressed like interest, and I pushed for it to be open for Irish students. And then, between my manager and then the head of this whole intern program and the head of Germany, we managed to open to Irish students. So that's what I'm saying. Just push for opportunities. If you create opportunities or you seek for opportunities, it will come to you. If you're kind of like, then it won't come. Any tips? First of all, projects. This is the biggest thing I always highlight. Even when people message me, I say projects. Projects is so important because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I know C++, I know C, I know Java. Okay, I can say I know how to fly a plane, but if I can't demonstrate I can fly a plane, then it's really useless. So projects demonstrate your ability to do projects, and it doesn't have to be cool. It doesn't have to be like the next Facebook, the next Twitter. My projects are really simple. Mine was just basically put a picture into the upload a file, sorry, and then it just finds a face. And I use APIs. I didn't know machine learning. Machine learning was about someone else. It was stuff like just creating a simple front end, blog or website. And secondly, CV. And recruiters just scan through CV and they highlight words and make sure it's like a page. If it's 2 pages, they kind of get like, but if it's 1 page, it's fine. And just highlight your skills, relevant projects, your education, and relevant experiences. If you like applying for a technical job, don't put stuff like, oh yeah, I was a chef. Unless that's your only experience, that's fine. But obviously remember you have to keep it to a page, but also have relevant stuff. That's it. So let's moving on to the actual talk. So I want to talk about the importance of enterprise software and how it helps the world run better. Working with SAP for the past year and even like doing different talks and looking at different companies and whatnot, it has a huge impact on how the world runs. And especially during this times of pandemic, it's really evident, and I'll get into it. So first of all, what is enterprise software? Enterprise software is a software that's used to organize or used to satisfy the needs of an organization rather than the individual needs or individual users. Services that are provided by enterprise software are typically business-oriented tools, such as online shopping, online payment processing, automated billing, system security, and then the most probably you guys know this is like customer relations management, enterprise content management, IT service management, supply chain management, whatnot. And although there's no like say single widely accepted list of software characteristics for an enterprise software, generally, what I noticed is they include performance, scalability, and robustness. Obviously, performance can speak itself. If you ever use like a mobile app, whatever, or a website, and it takes forever to load, and like, oh, what? And then you just close it, right? You move on. You don't even use it. Scalability is very important because companies want to grow. Like you just want to keep growing, right? And if your software is not scalable, it's so hard to work with. You ever just work with a piece of code? Let's say remember when you're in like first year doing your coding project or whatever, and you write the code like, yeah, this is so cool. And then maybe like a year or two you revisit it or you try to build upon it, you're like, what was I thinking? What did I write? And you're looking at it, it's like, oh, for sure that's me, like prior to taking a shower writing code and after a shower, I'm like, oh my God, man, this is terrible. Um, and thirdly, robustness. Security and how well it works is so important. Like you have to go through these security checks, and also if your software breaks so easily, customers are going to be so annoyed and not going to use the product. Um, yeah. So moving on. Uh, for enterprise software, companies want to make sure that they're not only doing successful business, profit is important, but in these times where we're talking about like the environment, COVID-19, it's much more than just profit at this point. It's about doing sustainable business that benefits the greater society. And the benefits could be directly to like the users. So for example, let's say Zoom is your user using it directly, but it can also be indirectly. So let's say SAP creating a product for their customers who are large companies who create their products for their customers. And we want to make sure that whatever product we're making is sustainable, and it's very important. You always see it in companies, they're like, oh, I have like ISO, blah, 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 or this, and whatever, right? But okay, the main point is how does it help the world run better? I'm a really big fan of demonstrating by example. As you can see, a lot of my explanations have been examples. So let's talk a really notable example that I've already mentioned, and that is COVID-19. I'm sure that, in these times of pandemic, that has affected all of us greatly. And we can see a very big app that has been implemented throughout the whole world, and that is a tracing app. You can see it in like South Korea, you can see it in Germany, Ireland, and what was like, how did it benefit us? So let's take South Korea as an example, because I think they were one of the first people to do this. Was they had an app that allowed it warned you if people who were diagnosed positive with COVID-19, they were in your area, and you kind of see what they were doing. So where they were, what shops they went to, public transport, or whatever. And this really changed how they dealt with COVID-19 because you were able to see who were around you. You were kind of avoiding that area of people who were diagnosed positive. And in turn, this helped the government and medical officials to track down these people and help to kind of isolate, or not isolate, but kind of like push people away from the people who are diagnosed positive. And you can see how it helped them run the country better, right? Because you can see other countries, for example, Ireland, initially when they didn't have the tracing app or there was any social distancing, it spread really quickly, right? I think Serbia can agree that at the start it was kind of slow, but then suddenly it just spiked up really quickly. Um, so yeah, this is one of the benefits on how it helps the world run better. And another one, as an effect of COVID-19, is Zoom and Skype, these telecommunication services. For sure, I'm sure all of you, and even now, we're using Google Hangouts. We use Zoom for classes, for meetings, for connecting with family when you want to play bingo or whatever, or any quizzes. And evidently in Zoom's value just shot up. Like everybody started using Zoom. Even Microsoft Teams copied, not copied, but kind of implemented how Zoom showed like the grid. Because initially I remember Microsoft Teams only showed like a single panel, and it was really hard to see everybody. But then Zoom had the code like you could see everybody in a panel, and then Microsoft Teams incorporated that. And for sure, I use Zoom so many times for classes where it helps so greatly, and everybody stay at home, be safe or whatever. And you can see how this has helped us run, even though we're not talking personally. Like I could be, for example, hypothetically, I could have flown out to you guys and gave the talk in front of you, right? But because of these things, we don't have to do that. We can stay here, and it's so much more easier, right? And even like classes, we're able to switch to online classes so seamlessly. I say seamlessly, of course there's like bumps, but it wasn't as like kind of complicated. And you can see even online, there's like memes about people like joking around in online classes and where they have like the fake videos. And you see how it benefit us, or it didn't benefit us, but it kind of helped us run or deal with COVID more smoothly. And you can see how the impact of these enterprise softwares help us to run smoothly. I for sure use Skype every day at work, calling whatever my coworkers. I use Teams all the time. Messenger, I call Serby now and then to discuss stuff on Messenger. And you know, I I don't really see, or when before I thinking about this, I didn't see the impact or the benefit. But if you think about it, it's like, wow, I just click a button, I'm talking to Serby already. That's so smooth, right? I can discuss something. I can text her and say, do you want to discuss something? And literally 5 minutes we're in a call. And then we'll discuss something and it's done within an hour. It's so fast, helps us be productive. So let's move on to like discussing the actual companies. I'm sure you know these: SAP, Salesforce, Workday. If you don't know them, it's fine, because they're not like Google, whatever, where their products aren't tailored towards customers. As in, like like you have to be working in a business or of some sort to know these people. And I will talk about the benefits and how they impact or help the world run indirectly. So they provide solutions such as ERP, CRM, or a cloud solution. I'll talk about SAP since I worked on this product. So SAP Analytics Cloud basically is a tool where you can kind of upload your data, so CSV files, whatever, and it analyzes the data for you using artificial intelligence. And you're like, that's cool, but then what's the benefit of it? How does it help the world run better? Well, for example, I was working on this demo data, which was sales data, like close, whatever. I uploaded it. This is my first day working on internship. I'm testing it out. I uploaded a CSV file, and it showed me who were my top buyers, how much they were paying, how much my sales were between the months, and how this changed. And you can just imagine, for someone who's an analyst, they just have to upload this data, which takes like, for example, 5 minutes, and they get all these insights. They did their job within like 5 minutes, and this is so productive. And it means they can get these insights and produce it to like higher ups or whatever. And then you can get fast, meaningful information and make quick decisions so quickly. And this benefits everyone else that's going to be using the products. So for example, let's say I noticed that Serby123 is my best customer, and she really likes buying like t-shirts. Let me say, oh, okay, let's focus on Serby. What does she like? Blah, blah, blah. And then we increase Serby's like customer satisfaction, whatever. And then maybe she starts shouting us out or sharing with her friends. And then we increase sales that way. I'm not a salesperson, but I'm saying hypothetically, this could happen, right? And let's talk about something technical. We also use this tool internally. I can't say for what, but it was just basically analyzing our own data and how we were doing things and whatever. And when I say the amount of meaningful insights and stuff we did not know was pulled out was really good. And from that, we were able to turn these into backlog items, and that we could create tasks and work on them, and therefore improve our product. And it just indirectly improves, let's say Serby is using SAC, then, we get this kind of circle where we're benefiting each other and whatnot. And hearing from our customers, they're saying, oh, we really like your product, and it's really helped us doing stuff and whatnot. So you can see that on both sides, when we have like say Zoom, whatever that helps us benefits us directly. We also have SAP, whatever that benefits us indirectly, and therefore, it helps the world run much more smoother. I can for sure say using this tool, analyzing data has been really, really smooth and really easy. Um, the next one I really want to talk about, the next thing I want to talk about is the individual, let's say areas, the big areas in, let's say CRM, whatever, because I think it's really important to highlight how they benefited, right? So first, I'm sure you all know is business intelligence. This is like allowing for easy interpretation of big data. You identify new opportunities and implement an effective strategy based on insights, and they can provide businesses with a competitive marketing strategy and long-term stability. And back to what I was saying about getting insights within 5 minutes, you can just think like say a product manager or some analyst getting insights so quickly and making effective decisions. Your company is moving so quickly then. The next one is CRM, so customer relationship management. It allows different approaches that allow companies to manage and analyze interactions with its past, current, and potential customers. Uses data analysis about customers' history with a company to improve business relationships with customers, focusing on customer retention and ultimately driving sales growth. I think a really simple example is when you go to like a supermarket or airport. Did it get stuck? My video or the presentation? Where you're
I
muted,
think your video got stuck.
like my camera.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, now it's fine. Now it's fine. Yeah.
all right.
Maybe a bit shaky, but yeah, it's okay.
Okay,
Maybe it's my internet. Yeah, sorry.
that's fine. I think a really another example is supermarkets or airports. You ever go through it and then they go, "Well, you're happy with your experience," and you're tapping like sad or happy, whatever. This is something known as like experience data, and it uses because we have like old data, which is kind of like records, whatever, like sales, purchases, but we can't measure kind of satisfaction, emotions, right? That's where experience data comes in, and be able to leverage these two and using CRM, you're able to kind of quickly improve your product, improve your services. And I can say for sure this works, whatever, because I think remember during my first internship, we did something like this where we measure like customer satisfaction, and we create a very quick team park and how we're going to improve the products, how we're going to use these BIs, business intelligence and CRMs to kind of improve our team park. The third one is ERP. ERP is enterprise. It should wait. Can you hear me? Someone's thing. Okay,
Yeah, I
sorry,
can
no.
hear you.
Okay, so ERP means enterprise resource planning, and basically integrates varied organizational systems and facilitates error-free transactions and productions, therefore enhancing the organization efficiency. I think ERP is the biggest one for any company to use. Even small companies and medium companies use it now. And I guess, if you work with like say a framework, you can think of it as a framework, right? It's different to, let's say you're using JavaScript and you're like making everything again compared to using React. I think that's the difference. And then finally, it's a supply chain management. That's the objective of creating net value, building a competitive infrastructure, leveraging worldwide logistics, synchronizing supply with demand, and measuring performance globally. And these are just a few of the different types of enterprise softwares, but these are the kind of the main ones. And you can see how beneficial, at least I saw how beneficial it was, especially when working with different teams and talking to them. And we create these different products that help us drive or kind of improve our performances and processes. And therefore, it helps the world run a little bit smoothly. Moving on. I think I really want to highlight that tech is just not for geeks. There's like design, engineering, the customers, and the psychology behind it. So human computer interaction. Enterprise software is a people industry. I can't just say all the engineers did all the jobs, or I can't just say all the UI UX designers did all the jobs. we kind of work together, and without the customers, like the large companies or you guys, for example, then we're not able to kind of produce better products, or the product won't kind of be used, right? And so having, like I say, a UX UI designer improve like the interface means that we get to use a better and easier to use system. You ever like get a Android or whatever mobile app, and then you download it and you're like, wow, this interface is so bad. How am I going to use this? It's so hard to navigate, and it turns you off, right? So you can see the importance of that. Or even when the code is running slow, then there's engineering. And you ever see how, like, for example, your phone here, when you want to scroll, you have to like put your thumb across to scroll like this, or you have weird places, or even large phones where the buttons at the very top, but you usually use a phone like this, and you're like, how am I meant to reach the top of this? Stuff like this. Having these people or these knowledges really helps make our experiences smoother. The whole process and living our everyday lives much more smoother. And finally, I just want to say that it's not just about kind of making software or whatever. These enterprise companies also have like huge impacts on like social benefits. I'm going to talk about SAP because I work for them, I know them the most. So, companies are very involved in charity. So, for example, every year SAP raises about 100,000 euros for a nominated charity, and they also donate like 50,000 euro per year to education and child-centered charities in schools, preparing kids for the digital future. I can see just how much these companies are pushing money towards creating a better future. They lead the world of tomorrow, right? They're setting example. They're creating products that earn money, but they're also creating a sustainable environment for us to grow and live in. And there's also kind of like relief work, so stuff like SAP flood relief, or also they work for, I think there's in the city of Cape Town or Johannesburg, where they do work around water measurement and conservation as they struggle to maintain water supplies for the city. And finally, education. So I'm part of the SAP student training and rotation star program. And it's SAP's commitment, and I'm pretty sure other companies as well, is their commitment to making the world run better by demonstrating that we can develop young talent, and we don't need to expect the colleges to do it for them. If the companies are able to use their resources and like kind of their money to support these young talents, these young students to grow and kind of nurture them, then we can create leaders out of them, and from them they can lead the world tomorrow. Because as you know, we are the millennials, and we will build the next generation. Yeah. So for example, the current CEO of SAP was a student of this program. He started off as a student here, and now he's leading SAP, and he's creating all these programs and kind of supporting the world, helping the world run better. And finally, I just want to highlight the main points. Enterprise software is mainly just teamwork, and teamwork for many different people, and not just internally. When I say internally, it's not just UI, UX designers, product managers, engineers. It's also the customers. The customers give feedback, the customers use your products, and the customers ultimately give you the products, and they kind of drive this towards a direction. It's not just about money. Sustainability, ethics, and whatnot are important. You can see in the news, people question Facebook's ethics or whatever, right? Customers and consumers don't really care about how much you earn. They want to know what's benefiting them, how are they going to use this, and whatnot. And finally, enterprise tech has really benefited us, and I think for sure I take it for granted. I never really thought about, like I say, Apple Pay, whatever, how seamless my transactions are now, until I was doing this presentation and kind of discussing this. Now I rarely take cash. I remember when I was younger, I would take cash everywhere and like, oh, do I have enough for this? But now I just like, oh yeah, I have my phone. I'll pay for it, and the receipts and where I paid for it, everything comes up. It's so much easier. So finally, any questions? I can take questions for like 5 minutes.
I think that was amazing. That was really insightful, and even I learned a lot. So I think if people have any questions, please put them in the chat, or please unmute yourselves, and we can take them now. And if you have any questions for graduate opportunities in SAP, then we can also take those questions. So just feel free to text anything in the chat box, and we can handle that now. We can wait for a minute, or like if you want to just put them, anything suits.
Yep. I guess I'll just talk about the last slide while we wait for questions. If not, then we can talk here. So finally, do reach out to me. You can find me on this website here. All my social media is linked there. Do reach out to my Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm very active there, and I will always look for a chat. And if you ever need, I guess, want to ask for something, whatever, I'm willing to help. If you want to work on project, whatever, yeah,
I think there
for
is
sure.
something there. It was wonderful. Okay, as I'm also working full time on enterprise software, I can completely, okay, yeah, definitely. Even Prasad's talk last time was very, very informative. It was very detailed. So definitely it was kind of linked to what you were saying. But yeah, they were very good talks. I think this one was also very insightful as to what SAP does, what was your experience. It was like a good overview of everything. And we are recording this meeting, so you can always go back and look at it. And if anybody has any questions, just feel free to reach out to us, and we will link it to Brady, or you can directly reach out to Brady at his website and his social media. Yeah, definitely. If you guys have any other questions, you can just let us know. And next week, we are going to have another amazing session, which is going to be the GirlScript Ireland Summit and the closing ceremony of the Gaming Booster. So do attend that. We're going to send emails to everybody. So hopefully everybody attends. And we are going to have a LinkedIn branding, a person who basically is going to give you tips on branding yourself on LinkedIn. She has 50,000 followers on LinkedIn. She is a second year Trinity student, so I hope you have some insightful lessons which you can learn from her. And definitely we will see you next week then. And thank you so much, Brady, for giving this talk.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the talk. I have to drop off because I have things to do,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
please
definitely.
enjoy it and do reach out if you have anything.
Perfect. See you guys. Bye.
See you. Bye.